Welcome to episode number 42 of Profit or Loss, the series where I buy cheap, faulty electronic items, attempt to fix them and sell them on for a profit. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week, which left us in the minus of £40, meaning our total profit is £20.69. My old trusty multimeter, after having it for probably over about 2 years or so, finally broke. So I took this opportunity to upgrade my multimeter. Lo and behold, the Fluke 115. True RMS multimetre. Hold min-max range. Brightness. Wavy V's, straight line V's. Lots of umphas, the horseshoe, the sonic wave, the backwards fish, A curved and A straight. I'm very excited to use this multimeter. They're quite expensive. I spent £230 on this, but for the purpose of longevity and accuracy and a bunch of great reviews, I have a lot of faith. Should we get into our first item? A viewer reached out to me and said, "Hey Joey, this has been sat in my utility cupboard for about 2 years or so. Do you want it? All you have to pay is postage." And I said, of course. So I paid £10 for this Nintendo Switch Lite, and I'm very excited to have a look and see exactly what's wrong with it. Depending on how this item goes, I may also have another item to try and fix. Oh wow, it's even got the charger. Amazing, look at that, the official Nintendo one that came with it originally. If, quote unquote, if I can fix this, that is definitely going to add some value to the listing. So happy days. So you do have a bit of a crack up here in the top right hand side of the chassis. A little mark on the screen here as well. But other than that, do you know what? It's actually in really, really good condition. The viewer did mention, I think, maybe a charging port. But again, you never know with these things. You might have a shorted M92T36 or it might have even caused more severe damage somewhere else on the board. Before we head on over to our microscope to investigate a little bit more, a quick word from our sponsor, PCB Way.
PCB Way are PCB specialists. From creating your own personal PCB, various sizes, different colours and complete customization to sharing a project that you've created, PCB Way has it all. Leave comments on other people's projects or even download the Gerber files left by the author to give it a go yourself. They also have a gift store where you can purchase merchandise, soldering irons, multimeters and lots more. Bag yourself a sweet deal with PCB Way over the Christmas period. Make sure to keep an eye out on offers throughout December. Check out the link in the description for a $5 welcome bonus.
All right, what do we have? Okay, so yeah, you see the pins on that charging port. Look, they're touching, crossing, hugging, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know if they also look a little bit like almost charred. No, maybe not. But I don't know if that's like a liquidy coating over it, the white stuff. Okay, interesting. What's a really nice touch as well is that we actually have all of the screws. So let's get this apart down to motherboard level. There was about 2 screws missing up here, and there was a small bend in the heatsink pipe, if I can show you on this. So I do think, can you see there? So I do think this has been opened before. Well, let's head on over to the scope and get a better look at this port. Is it a factory one is the question. Yes, it is. This is a factory port. There we go. All right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure M92T36 as well as BQ. And you shouldn't do this until the port is off, but I'm really excited to use my multimeter. We have some new leads as well. And these are the first beeps you are going to hear. And if the beeps aren't suffice, we send it straight back because we need you to be happy with the beeps. So we're going to put it in waveform mode, aka continuity. How does that sound? It sounds good this end. It sounds really, really good this end. Okay, black probe on ground. Do we have any shorts? Yeah, we do. We have a short right there. This side of the cap over here is ground, so that's fine. That's okay. Do we have a short here as well? No. Oh, okay. Oh dear. Wow. This is not good. We have a short on the dreaded CPU cap. Short on this cap. Short on this cap. Just quickly check around BQ. All seems okay. That cap there does look a little bit odd, doesn't it? This one here. Let's put the multimeter into resistance mode and just see if we can get an accurate reading on if this is a short to ground or not. So my probes are measuring 0.6. This is 0.6, so it is a dead short to ground. Firstly, removing that port because it could skew the results. Then we're going to remeasure, but I also think we might have to replace M92T36 because of the short at the top of the chip. Being honest and upfront, I'm doubtful with this. Port removed, a very nice clean pull. We don't have any pads touching there. How are those shorts looking? Is this short gone? No, so we still have a short here, and we still have a short here. Okay, so short here, short here. All right, M92 might actually be okay. I think we have an issue with the CPU, but I am going to remove M92 regardless. There we go, again, a nice clean pull. Okay, do we still have our shorts? Yeah. Do we still have it here? Yeah, we do. This is not good. This is really not good. I'm going to inject some voltage. And do you know what? I actually have another toy to play with today. Infrared have sent me their P2 Pro thermal camera. Now, I actually use one of these already at work. And let me tell you, my personal experience between this and the Fleur cam that I use for JDT, this product is far superior. I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of this camera right now, but I may do so in a future video. If you'd like to see that, let me know down below. So I'm going to inject 0.5 volt on our shorted cap that we saw that I call the dreaded CPU cap. I don't know if you can see, but we are getting a slight heat spot just in front of it. But it looks to be on the other side of the board. So I'm going to put the macro lens on and see if that can distinguish exactly where it's coming from. Can you see we're getting about 24 degrees just there when I'm injecting into the cap? That's the other side of the board. So the area it was getting hot was just about here, but it wasn't enough for these caps. And directly behind this sort of area, we do have where the Wi-Fi IC is. So I've just popped the shield off of that, and I'm just having a quick visual inspection to see if I can see any burn marks or, you know, bad caps or anything like that. It doesn't look like it. We do have a big reflection going on there, which is really annoying. Let's just measure, see if any of these caps are shorted. That one is. These caps here are shorted to ground. Specifically, it's these two here. I wonder if one of them is shorted. I'm going to inject voltage on this side. Okay, so here's the area of the Wi-Fi IC. Something is getting instantly hot just there. But I don't know if that's the actual cap itself where I'm injecting. We also have a little heat spot up here, don't we? We can see it's almost this trace here. I don't think it's any of those caps. For the sake of science, I will just purely remove the caps that we have our shorts on. I need some new thin tweezers. Look at these. What is going on? I've actually done a really good job of getting them straight again. Look at that. Nice. All right. Wait for those areas to cool so we can get an accurate reading. Without these caps protecting the circuit now, if I go ahead and inject, we could be injecting straight into the CPU, and that wouldn't be good, unless the CPU is dead already. Okay, meet it in continuity mode. Do we still have a short? Yes, we do. Can you hear that? Dead short to ground still. On there, on here, yeah, and on here. Yeah, I am just going to remove the Wi-Fi IC quick. If the short hasn't gone after that, I'm not going to go through the hassle of removing the CPU, because I've done it on a previous video. This chip here is very sensitive, very sensitive. Whoop, a little bit of flux. There we go. Just to ensure that we don't have any shorted pads by accident or anything like that. Okay, do we still have a short? Yes, we do. Yep, I'm going to call it there on this one, unfortunately. I'll have to take the L on that one, but let's move on to item number 2, where we might have a little bit more luck. If we are going to make a profit now, it's with this, an Xbox Series X that I paid a grand total of £170 for. And look at this, it even came with a controller. The controller itself is in actually pretty good condition, so I'm happy with that. Doesn't look like it's been opened before, but it doesn't have any batteries, sadly. We did get the power lead as well. The console was bought in a job lot by the customer who sold me this. It has actually been opened before, so I'm a little bit worried, but supposedly has no power. Now, what I saw in the pictures and what I can see now, whoever opened this before assumed that there was a screw here, but there is a screw here. Most probably indicating that someone with lesser experience has tried to fix this console and wasn't able to. Might not be the case, and I could take a look at this and still not fix it, but I actually take that as a good sign. Let's get it apart. Before I take it apart, I should probably test it, right, and just make sure that it definitely doesn't turn on. Okay, power lead plugged in 3, 2, 1. Oh, it does turn on and turns off. No, it's a beep on, beep off. Oh no, I thought I was purchasing one that just didn't turn on. Amazing. Okay, well, success rate for fixing these is very, very, very low. For me, at least. But I'm going to try anyway. You might be thinking, Joe, why don't you just return it to the seller if it wasn't what you thought you were buying? Well, the description of the fault on eBay says it will not power on. I read that and assumed that there would be no power whatsoever, but I didn't message the seller and say, hi, is this a complete no power? Or when you say it doesn't power on, as in it beeps, but it doesn't power on. I think in general, most people would probably side with me and say that, you know, it should have stated that it, you know, it does power on, then power off, but it is what it is. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is check this ribbon cable here. My light keeps flickering. So let's zoom us in a little bit because some people don't take this out correctly. And it looks like we actually have a case of that here. Let me show you. Stop. Look at this light. What's it doing? Let's go onto the scope quick. This is a very common fault of failure here. Yeah, look, that's broken. That clip. So I wonder if it's even making a contact at all. That, to be fair, that is just to secure it in place, but we don't know what the actual pins are like on the connector. If somebody's taking this out with a bit of force, what about the other side? Well, the pins themselves seem to be okay. Yeah, see, that's completely gone. It's just snapped off. So somebody's not taking this off correctly. So how does that actually... Oh, it literally just pulls out as well. So maybe there is just interference here. Let's turn that up a little bit. Looking in between those pins, do we seem okay in the actual connector itself? Doesn't seem to be any issues down there. Do we have some burn marks? Can I see some burnt plastic inside, like here? Is that burnt plastic there? What about the actual ribbon connector? Is that okay? Yeah, that seems to be fine. Let's separate the sandwich. Let's see what the bottom connector's like. That seems okay. And it still has the latches on. That's how it's supposed to look, the other one as well. So it has both of these latches on. So that one's been taken out fine. Has this had a port swap? Yeah, that's not a factory port, is it? This is not a factory port. Are all these pins solid? Yeah, they are. Whoever done that, good job. Any bridges? Is that data line connected to the other data line just there? Can you see that? There and there, is that data line connected? Is that causing some sort of short? Let's get a little bit closer. Looks like it, hey? Maybe even the end two as well. There's one way to confirm this. A trusty multimeter. Continuity mode. These two here, not connected. These two, not connected. These two are. Yeah, so we have a short here. Okay, might as well test the others. Alright, so it's just these two here. Yeah. Is that going to be enough to cause it to beep on, beep off, though? If data lines are crossed, I'm not sure if that is going to stop it working, or whether it would just cause no display. Do you know what I mean? Let's sort that out very quickly then. I'm going to have to warm the board up for this, so I'm just going to apply some hot air behind the port. Now, this is very stupid. I'm actually trying this with the heatsink on, and this the Xbox, even without the heatsink, takes a lot of heat, so I think this is a pretty dumb idea. However, we're just trying to clear that bridge, that's all, because all the other, they're all solid. All of those joints are solid. So let's just apply a little bit of heat. That should be okay. Let's get some flux. Just pop it down here. Grab our soldering iron. Make sure the tip of our iron's nice and clean. And just see if we can get that out. That was those two. Oh, I think my light's in the way. Come on. Let's just keep dumping our solder off. Might need to use a bit of wick, which I actually don't know where my thick wick is. So I'm just going to use my thin stuff here. So I got rid of the short, looks like it. Applying a tad more flux, just to tap on those pins. Give me a tiny bit of solder. Okay, get rid of that burnt flux. Doubly bubbly check, make sure. Yep, that looks much better. I don't know if is there a bridge in between the two on the left now? Or is that just, might be a bit of flux. I don't know what it is. Might be flux just pushed all the way back. Again, let's test. Continuity mode between 1 and 2. Yeah, that is a bridge. That's now shorted to ground. Bit more flux. Put the scope up a bit so I've got a bit more wiggle room underneath. And then just come in with the iron. And let's get rid of that. And there it goes. Again, another really quick clean. It looks a lot better. Is it shorted to ground? Continuity mode? No. That one's not touching. That one's not touching. Cool, all good. And solid pins? Yeah. Yeah, those pins are solid. I'll quickly just put it back together and see if that did work. I highly doubt it because of the state of the connector, but I'll test it. I've reassembled partially to give it a test. So let's have a look and see what happens. We get a white light. Does it stay on? No, it doesn't. Okay. So it does still turn off. Let's take another look. What I will say is that this actually went in. I know that it's obviously broken. This went in like and felt a good clunk, you know. So I do honestly believe that the connector itself is okay. I could be entirely wrong, but just going by feel, it feels alright. There's quite a lot of flux around the retimer IC, as you can see there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So that's definitely been replaced, right? Yeah, 100%. Is it soldered properly? Kind of looks it, you know. I don't know if it's a good IC, but that looks like it's making a good solder connection to all of the pads underneath of it. Yeah, it does. got my hopes up a little bit by seeing that. Quick clean, never hurt. There we go. Looks 10 times better. Look. Just after a little clean. Do we have any shorts around this IC? No. I've taken the board out of the heatsink, and weirdly, you're probably not going to be able to see this on camera, but there seems to be this like dust. Can you see this dust all over it? Like, look at this cap, and then I'll wipe it, and the dust is gone. And that's all over here, where like these caps and stuff are for the APU. It's quite a thick layer of dust. You see that? But it was only where the clamp was. Yeah, look. So strange. To do the HDMI port, someone's obviously taken this part out. And if you want to see Mount Rushmore of a soldering blob on the back of the HDMI port, there it is. Maybe they've done something on the back here potentially that shouldn't have been done. Trying to follow the signs of their flux. Let's measure some components around here. Just for clarity as well, the 5 volt and the 3.3 seem to be okay. There seems to be signs of flux here as well. Oh no, that's the viscous paste, isn't it? That's the sweaty viscous paste. I'm also going to check the health of the SSD. You know, it's very possible that whoever tried to fix this, they had some issues with the HDMI port or whatever, and then they decided to just sell it as a faulty console. It's entirely possible that they then just put a random SSD in, and that's why it's not booting. It's a very, very common cause of the on and off. This is the SSD from the console that I'm working on, and to be honest with you, everything checks out okay. The readings that I'm getting healthy voltage drops going into the big ICs. 0.2 there, 0.38 there, 0.38 there, and that all matches up to this SSD here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blindly try and transfer the data that I have from this SSD over to this SSD to see if that is causing an issue. I've just checked the health of the SSD and it seems to be absolutely fine. I've cleaned another SSD I have that works. So now I'm just cloning from point A to point B. This should make an exact replica of the SSD that I had. If it's faulty software on the SSD, then it's going to copy that over as well. But there is a 1 GB raw partition that is paired to the motherboard, which is why you just can't put any old new SSD into it. You have to have a clone of the original. It might work, it might not, and it doesn't make the situation any worse because it keeps that data on the drive. Okay, so we are now back together for testing. The SSD is completely copied over. Let's see what happens in 3, 2, 1. White light. It stayed. Okay, that was very teasing. I actually think it stayed on for a little bit longer than what it did previously, even if it was like a millisecond or two. The only other thing I think it could be is that connector. Maybe it does need replacing. I'm not going to do that in today's video. I will keep that for a live stream. On one hand, it's actually quite tough with these ones. The tech who was in here before, yes, there was a little bit of a bridge on the HDMI port, but other than that, they've done a pretty competent job, and I don't know what else they've done to cause the beep on, beep off. But I'm going to call it on this one. We will look at it together in a live stream. I think it will make for a nice, fun live stream. Let's head over to Sally, shall we? So I've entered minus £180. That's $170 for the Xbox Series X and £10 postage for the other console, the Nintendo Switch Lite, leaving us further down the miserable minus of £159.31. It was going well, and then all of a sudden we're now back on a downslope, but we need to keep positive and we need to keep grinding. We'll make it out of this. I know we will. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll leave a video link for last week's video of this series up here in the top right hand corner of your screen right now. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.